Hello there, and welcome back to Hydroponics Daily, your go-to podcast for everything soilless cultivation. I'm your host, Dr. Russell Sharp, the founder of Udreema Limited. We make novel fertilizers, interesting biostimulants, and organic biopesticides. And today I wanted to talk about an interesting patent I'd found. Patent, you can say it a few ways, can't you? Patent. And it's to do with mistletoe. So mistletoe is not a hydroponic crop currently. It is a parasitic plant, or what's termed a hemiparasitic or semi-parasitic plant, in that it feeds off trees. So normally it grows in orchards or on wild trees. Certainly here in the UK, the European species Viscum album, the white mistletoe. And it's very common in apple orchards around the southeast, Herefordshire way, and on lots of trees like ash trees around here in the Midlands. Doesn't grow very well further north in England. Anyway, so yeah, it takes mainly the water and a bit of nutrition, well, all of it's mineral nutrition from the host plant. It lives in the canopy, so it's got no roots, and it invades the vascular tissue of the host tree. And then it, as I said on a previous episode, when I was talking about Rafflesia, the largest flower in the world, mistletoe seeds, the fruits are very, very sticky. And so birds like the mistletoe thrush, which is a species of thrush that is especially evolved with mistletoe, they eat the seeds, the fruit, and then they poo out the seeds. And along with that, the goo that surrounded the seed in the fruit, that irritates the bird and it sticks to the bird's anus, and it makes them push the seed into the branch of the trees that they're sat on, they're roosting in. So it irritates them, so they're rubbing the seed down into the bark, and that's what causes the attachment of the plant. It's a very green plant. It uses lots and lots of water, so it's stealing water, so it doesn't care about the health of the tree very much. That's how it's evolved, and so they're very high photosynthetic rates, and they form bushes. And then the reason they're tolerated in orchards is because you can sell them for a high price, and especially at Christmas, because obviously you kiss under the mistletoe and people buy mistletoe from florists and supermarkets and places like that. It's actually a poisonous plant, highly poisonous, so don't eat it. But there is one village, I think, somewhere like Tutbury Wells or something like that, somewhere very, very English, where you'd find Ellen DeGeneres in the Cotswolds, where every year in about November they have a big mistletoe market, and all the farmers, all the orchard growers sell their mistletoe at this one particular town, and it's a bit of a popular local event. So all the celebrities that live in the Cotswolds, where they're all coming, like JD Vance has recently been to the Cotswolds, and maybe they'll go to the mistletoe market. But this patent that I've found is looking at hydroponic cultivation. So the title of it is Methods of Cultivating Mistletoe in Horticulture, involving the use of hydroculture baths containing sap of host plant into which sprigs of freshly cut mistletoe are placed. And it's a worldwide patent that was applied for in 1991. So it's very old and probably out of date now. So you could use the techniques in this patent without infringing it, without being sued by the inventor. The inventor is Gunther Mayer, and he is German. And let's look into it and find out more about this patent, or patent, depending on what you say. So there isn't actually that much information on this patent. It talks about putting the plants in a bath of sap from the vascular juice from the plants. It doesn't say how the vascular juice is extracted. Now, it could be you just get the plant and you whiz it up in a blender, and that could be juice. That's how we think of juice. But vascular juice sort of implies that it's sap, and that needs to be extracted with something like a pressure bomb, where you pull it out under pressure. And then the only other thing it talks about is carbon dioxide, use of carbon dioxide. There's no images, there's no diagrams, which makes it very weird that it was granted this patent, because it just says, oh, here's a method for propagating mistletoe, and it involves sticking plants in hydroponic vats containing sap. So very strange. Doesn't say how the juice will be preserved, because otherwise presumably it would just go off within a matter of hours or days. And Gunther filed the patent in 91, and then it was withdrawn in 94 because he didn't pay his fees. And so, he's got another patent, which is for using lasers to cut grass, lawns, which is interesting. A strange one, that one as well. Not seen many laser. That was from 2007. So there's a big gap between him filing the patents for the two of them. And then it cites another patent, which is about cultivation of mistletoe and other hydroponic plants. And this one's even more bizarre and even more simple. This one just says that this is a patent for propagation of parasitic plants and involves putting seeds on a host plant and then taking the cuttings from that host plant and then propagating them. That's it. Just putting seeds on. And that one was granted a patent as well. So basically, very, very low bar for getting patents for cultivating parasitic plants. So that second patent was by some Danish researchers from the University of Copenhagen in 2002. And again, a really, really bizarre patent. So it turns out you can grow mistletoe hydroponically if we believe Gunther did this or not. Apparently, according to file a patent, you have to have actually invented the thing. You can't just come up with an idea. It has to have been possible. So in theory, Gunther had to have produced mistletoe plants successfully using this technique of using the juice of the host plant as the hydroponic fertigation solution. I would say it's highly unlikely that you could recreate this, but maybe you should give it a go and see. If you have got an outlet for mistletoe, it's quite an expensive crop, then perhaps you could have a play around with it. The other plant, hemiparasitic plant, that is a commercial crop, is sandalwood. And sandalwood is tropical, isn't it? I think it grows in, let's have a look. Some species are suffering from over-harvesting in the past. So if there's a shortage of sandalwood, then this could be another good crop to grow. Sandalwood oil prices have rose to $3,000 per litre in 2017. So it's an expensive crop, sandalwood. So it grows on the santalum tree, and it's native to Southeast Asia, East Timor, Papua New Guinea, places like that, certain islands in Japan. But if you're growing it hydroponically, you could grow it anywhere in the world. So maybe sandalwood's a good crop you could consider growing. One disadvantage of growing hydroponic sandalwood is that it takes 40 years for the crops to become mature enough to be harvested of their oil, with 80 being the preferred age. So 80 years before you get a crop. And so anyone who plants a sandalwood plantation will never ever see the profits. So you have to believe in your family that they are, and the people that you invest in your business are going to take it forward, because 80 years, however, that is mad. 30 years is considered inferior for sandalwood. So maybe not hydroponics, maybe some sort of hybrid system where you grow the sandalwood saplings in the juice of the host plant and then transplant them out afterwards would be a good one. So if you have ever grown a parasitic plant hydroponically, then please do let me know, because I'd be really interested in finding out. It could be a non-crop species like broom rape or a ghost orchid or something like this. Then be really interesting to know that. That's been Hydroponics Daily for today. How to hydroponically grow parasitic plants such as mistletoe and sandalwood. If you found this interesting, then please leave an Apple Podcast review. It would mean the world to me, because it would shoot this podcast up the Apple Podcast charts. And that's all I care about, vanity and things like that. No, it's just so we can grow the podcast and more people learn about hydroponics and the fascinating world of growing plants indoors without soil or outdoors without soil. All right, that's been enough for today. I'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.